Hi, I recently ran speed tests on about 40 websites, and over 36 of them went over Google's speed threshold. And they had great layouts, perfect, conversion based on like our previous video. And still, they saw over half of their visitors bouncing because of Google's rules. So Google basically has a 2-second threshold where if the website loads over 2 seconds, they just leave. The owners had no idea and they were getting, traffic. It doesn't matter if 50% of those visitors leave the website. And I even wrote an email on this a few days ago on how you can add 3 more clients this month simply by making your website faster. And I start with an average number of 500 monthly visits. If you just do some basic math where you get a 1% conversion rate, you get 5 leads per month from these 500 visits. At a 60% close rate, let's say they're qualified, you're closing 3 clients. What you're probably overlooking with these 500 visits is the fact that basically half of these people leave your website if your website loads in, let's say, 3 to 10 seconds. You're not converting 5 out of 500 visits. You're actually converting 5 out of 250. If you have 500 real visits, you're going to end up converting more clients just because your website loaded faster. And here in the email, I gave a few tips that I'm going to expand on in this video. Let me tell you, when people are booking an audit with us, what I check first is not the design, it's not the copy, it's actually the page load speed. That one number explains most conversion problems. It doesn't matter if you have the perfect copy or, perfect market positioning or you've been in the market longer than everyone. It doesn't matter. The first thing that matters is how many people actually stay on your website. This is what most of our leads scores in terms of performance look like. The speed index, 13 seconds. All these metrics are much longer and much higher than what they should be. And 15 out of 100 score sucks. That's probably why these people are losing clients. The real problem why your phone isn't ringing is because let's say you pay 3 to 5 grand for a site. It looks professional. Traffic is coming in, but leads don't match the traffic. And your competitor with less reviews is busier. And the reason is because your website loads slow. And here's where it actually goes. So let's say right now you're getting 500 visits, your website loads in 4 to 5 seconds, 190 bounce, 310 of them reach the site, and you end up having 5 leads. But if you fix your speed, you get 500 visits, 50 people bouncing, and 450 of them actually reach the site, which is 140 more than before the optimization. And you end up with 7 to 8 leads, basically what my email promised. And again, the conversion math, right? If you have 500 leads divided by 500 visits, you have a 1% conversion rate. But in actuality, you have a 1.6% conversion rate, which is better than you thought. It's because your site is essentially filtering out 40% before it loads. Now, I want to reference a Portent study that's based on over 100 million page views. And it basically says here a site that loads in 1 second converts 3 times higher than a 5 second loading one. And it's specifically for lead gen sites where you have forms and phone calls. And I could just visit this page here and we can see that all these metrics are costing you real money. In this page, you can see some of the tips that we're gonna talk about. There have been studies backing this up. If people are having to wait multiple seconds for your website to load, just naturally more of them are gonna leave. And what this costs you is, let's say, 3 extra clients a month at a 50 to 60% close rate. Every month, that's 36 extra clients. If you charge, let's say, $2,000 for an average job, this is a $72,000 a year fix from traffic that you already have. So I'm not showing you like how to get more traffic. We can create videos on that. But this video specifically, how do you utilize the traffic you are currently getting? Now, what your web designer probably didn't do, they didn't prioritize the speed. The deliverable was visual, but no one really runs a speed test at handoff. It's kind of an industry blind spot. And after having been in the conversion game for quite a while, we've noticed that most web designers pretty much overlook this, and only the most cutting edge performance marketers actually take this into consideration. Slow load times result in high bounce rate, less time on page, and fewer form submissions. Now, enough about what you're losing with a slow website. Let me tell you, how do you actually improve the website speed? And it's not that difficult. So the first thing is, likely on your website, you probably have images that are taken with an iPhone, or like in general larger size. And images are usually 3 to 5 megabytes. We've just seen from previous client websites. So if images are 3 to 5 megabytes each, and you have hundreds of them, or even dozens of them, remember that your entire page should be under 1.5 megabytes, and it's by Google standards. And before a visitor searches you up on Google or on really any search engine or browser, it loads every single byte. Like, it downloads every single byte before it shows it to you, to the visitor. So essentially, your web page is like 50 to 100 megabytes, right? While it should be 1.5 megabytes, and that's why it's loading so slowly. Here you can see original image before optimization is 3.5 megabytes. If you optimize it, if you slightly compress it without making it look different, really, it's basically 9 times smaller. And some of the tools you can use for this are Short Pixel, Tiny JPEG, Tiny PNG, and convert them to a WebP format. Now, the platform that we're using to build websites, they have a special format for images that basically makes them even faster. But yeah, let's talk about now hosting. Now, fixing your hosting also makes your website load faster, because we've noticed a lot of business owners, you probably watching this as well, you probably didn't care that much about hosting. I mean, who does, right? It's just, where you keep your website. But we've noticed that it actually makes a huge difference in how fast a website loads. And I really suggest you use reputable managed hosting. And the speed difference is only like 2 to 4 seconds, but the cost difference is $10 to $20 a month extra. And if you really do the math, if you take the math into consideration, those 2 to 4 seconds are worth much more than paying an extra $10 to $20 a month. And another thing, when you're choosing your hosting provider, make sure it offers CDN and backups. So here's just a little graphic. Budget hosting, $5 a month. You have overcrowded servers, no caching layer, no CDN. But if you choose performance hosting, you have optimized servers, you have built-in caching, and you have CDN included. So it's the same website, same content, 2 to 4 seconds faster. And we've seen statistics, again, that you're basically going to get 2 to 3 more leads every month if you optimize this. Okay? And the next thing is caching. So here's the 5-minute fix. You want to have your Cache-in plugin store pre-built pages. The server hands over finished product instead of rebuilding every visit. If you're on WordPress, we suggest using WP Rocket or Lightspeed Cache. We've used both of them. WP Rocket is probably the best one, but it's a bit pricey. Now, it installs in 5 minutes basically, and it cuts load time 30 to 50% on its own. And later, I'm going to show you a client example that did a crazy difference in terms of load speed. So here's the difference, 34 to 92. And here's a client example. Now, we have a client, Brand Pro Photography. And before using a caching plugin, her performance on desktop was a 38. After using the plugin, it was a 99. And before recording this video, I tested this, and you can see the difference is crazy. It's basically 3 times as fast with a caching plugin. What I suggest you do, configure caching on your website, figure out your hosting, compress your images, and realize that the page speed is much more important than you think. So what I want you to do right now is to go to pagespeed.web.dev. So here, it's this website. We could do a live test of our client, Brand Pro Photography. Takes a little bit to perform an analysis. So I want you to run the test. It takes 10 seconds, and you want to write down your score. So let's see what it comes up with. On desktop, you can see a 99%, 99 score, 0.6 first contentful, and then let's see on mobile. Okay, yeah, 86 on mobile performance, maybe accessibility. Likely you can see that your website is not performing as good here. To fix that, you want to do the above changes that I talked about. What I want you to do now is, if you want to receive emails like the one I showed you here, this one, that's like really comprehensive, that talks about exactly what you should do, compressing, resizing, basically all the topics I talked about in this video, but in email form every single day. If you want that, go to the first link in our description and sign up to our private email list. We offer free audits for email list members. You get an email a day. If you want an audit, you can easily book a call. And also, the only way to work with us is by joining the email list. So the link is in the description, and I'll see you in the next one.